Hey guys, Charl from worshipguitarskills.com, back again with another video for you. Today's video is part 2 of our how to compose lead and rhythm parts. In the previous video, which will link down in the description, we looked at The Battle Belongs by Phil Wickham. Basically, I showed you how I would go about composing parts for both a rhythm and a lead scenario. So in today's video, I want to go over the specifics around the rhythm guitar playing. I want to break down the parts to show you the way I came up with the rhythms, the voicings, along with some interesting techniques that you can use to create some dynamics in your playing. So before we get into the lesson, if you're not yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon to get notifications for whenever we release new videos just like this one, and then leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think of the video. Ask any questions. We always read and respond to those, and we love hearing back from our subscribers. All right, so with that said, let's dive right in. All right, so the song is in D flat. Most guitarists are kind of used to E or A or D. Whenever something gets into the D flat realm, they kind of get a little bit confused. I'm going to show you some fun stuff that you can do with octaves to kind of get out of the one position and to basically suss out where the other chords are. We'll get to that in a second. But for the intro, there was a really cool drum groove going on. So I wanted to play like a fun rhythmic part that's really going to drive the song and then also support what's happening with the little descending line. So let me play that once with the track, and then afterwards we'll break it down. Alright, so there you could have seen the intro part. You also saw the lead part, which we're going to break down in the following video. But basically what I'm doing is I'm playing kind of a syncopated rhythm, right? This is kind of a part you would play on an acoustic guitar. But if I do that nice and slow and I just verbally give you the strokes, it's down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down. So basically what's going on there is down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, up, down. Don't worry too much about the second part that's coming up there. What's interesting here, and you'll see it on the screen right now, is once I get into the down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, I repeat that twice, and then it basically means I'm not playing the first beat on the second bar. So whenever you do things like that, where you don't play where you expect to hear something, that gives you some kind of a syncopation, right? Which is where we're placing accents on the weaker beats. All right, so I kind of like that instead of like being on the one there to play across the bar line. All right, that's a fun little trick. So down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down. So what's happening there? It's basically just a D flat chord, down, up. Then I went to G flat. And what's happening there? This is a G flat. And this is D flat over F, right? So I've got D flat to a G flat to a D flat over F. Okay, and in worship you get that sus 4 to 3 movement a ton. So all I'm doing, instead of going from a D flat, back to the D flat, I went D flat over F. Okay, so the main thing to pay attention there is just the rhythm. And then you want to, of course, make sure that with this kind of a strumming going on in your strumming hand, you want to make sure that your string muting is happening. Because if you're going to strum some open strings by mistake, it's not going to sound good, right? So that's basically it. There's another, I played this as a 3-note power chord, and then you can actually leave your pinky there and then just come down with that finger. It helps to pay attention to your fingering, right? Because some people might play this and then they might go there and then they might go there. So that's like 3 movements, right? From this to a G flat with fingers 1 and 3 to a D flat over F with fingers 1 and 4. That's too much movement. We like to use the phrase economy of movement. The less movement, the better. So D flat, leave your pinky there, just drop the first finger, a string, and then drop the first finger a fret. Because now you've got that anchor there. Alright, so pay attention to that. That'll help you a ton because now you've got that anchor and you don't have to move your fingers up and down the whole time, because that is going to, when you can play without having to worry that you're going to play a wrong note, then you're relaxing. Alright, so you breathe easier, you're more calm, and therefore your playing is going to sound more on time, right? If you are kind of worried a little bit by, shucks, I'm in D flat here, better be careful not to hit any open strings, you're going to be tense, your breathing is not going to be relaxed, therefore your muscles are going to be a little bit tensed up, and your playing is not going to have that smooth, relaxed sound. All right, so that is a nice byproduct of actually using this anchor approach here. All right, so let's move on to the second part. Let's play it again with the second guitar, and then we'll come right back and break it down. Alright, so for this part, obviously we started with the intro, it was nice and big, but when we get to a verse, it's always good to be able to bring your dynamics down so that you have somewhere to go again when you get to the chorus or the bigger bridge. In this song, it takes a while for it to build, but the mistake a lot of guitarists make is they kind of start playing at 8, 9, or 10 from a level of intensity, and then they've got nowhere else to go, right? And then very soon, the guitar just kind of either overpowers the whole time or no one really pays attention to it. It just kind of blends in. So therefore, it's good if you can work with dynamics, right? And one way that is awesome for dynamics is when I'm using palm muting. It's just a simple 2-note D flat power chord, but I've got down, up, down with palm mutes. And then I take my palm mute off and I play the D flat chord. So I've got. And all this is, it's going to the G flat, playing exactly the same thing, but instead of, I'm going. Okay, that's using that, what we would call a first inversion. So it's D flat over F to G flat. All right, so that's obviously, if you know the song Do It Again by Elevation Worship, they used those voicings. So that's all I'm doing there, which is. Contrast is your friend, right? Whenever it comes to creating something that has got both melodic or rhythmic interest, basically something that it sounds musical, it's catchy to the ear, and it actually fits the song perfectly, right? So in this way, the contrast that I'm using is palm muted notes versus non-palm muted notes, right? A Okay, think of drums, okay? The kick drum is normally like a thud, kind of more of a muffled type of a thud type of sound, where the snare drum is like really loud and it cuts through the mix. So you've got that contrast, right, between a thud and a kind of a smacking sound of the snare. So the difference between those two sounds, that's what really makes the drums stand out, right? Because you've got the contrast in your two different tones that the kick drum and the snare produces. So it's similar to this. So it's that kind of that boom crack type of sound that you would have with the drums. I'm emulating that on the guitar, right? And I just keep that idea going. Okay, I didn't play it 4 times in the song, but you can experiment with that, right? So every time you want to get the crack type of sound like you would have with your snare, you've got to lift your palm mute off. All right, and then we went to B flat, which was... All right, so what's happening there? Quite simply, we're in the key of D flat, right? So your scale... It really helps if you know how to play that scale on the one string. Now, of course, I didn't go all the way up the neck, but if you know your scale... If you know your major scale on one string, then octaves are a great way to kind of get around. So all I did over here from the B flat, basically I played, so I went from the B flat so it's B flat to C to D flat to E flat, and then I stay on that E flat for a little while, and then I go right to the G flat power chord. So I've got back to the verse, to the G flat, B flat with the ascending line, and then a double bar on the G flat with a slide down, okay? So what's cool about that? Well, first of all, we talked about the boom crack kind of approach with like you would do with a kick drum and a snare. Then I showed you how to bring in some melodic interest. Now we went from that palm muted muffled sound to like strumming open power chords, not power chords, octaves. Okay, so again, it's contrast. And the other contrast was we stayed in one place for the D flat and the G flat. But now over the B flat minor, I'm moving up across the neck, all right, with more open strums. Okay, so there's a lot of different dynamics and contrasts in here, which is a great thing to use when you are composing your own parts. All right, so go and give that a shot. We've looked at palm muting, we've looked at hammer-ons, we've looked at octave slide. And you can see for that G flat, I played a power chord instead of just an octave because I want that to sound nice and fat. All right, so with that, let's check out the down chord. so of course this is a down chorus, but I thought it would be cool for the electric to kind of keep driving it, but not in a massive way. So what I did there is I played so let's look at the voicings. We've got G flat. Okay, so again, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... So wherever on 2 and 4 you would have the snare, I highlighted the note. So it's G flat, D flat over F, A flat, B flat minor. Even though I'm just playing a B flat power chord, the band was playing a minor. Alright, so that is the G, just a hammer on the G string. So if I play, those were the chords. Let's check out the chords. G flat, D flat over F, A flat, B flat minor. Rhythmically, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... Alright, nice and simple, nothing to it. The second time around, when I played it, so the first time, second time, so I just played that hammer on twice. Alright, so you can hear that in the song. Then we went back again and with a second time ending, which was a 2/4 bar. And then we're back into the intro again. Alright, so hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of how you can drive a song forward. Using that kind of a kick and a drum approach, a kick drum and snare drum approach, and just basically playing on 2 strings. And then also whenever I play the note in the G string, that's not palm muted. Because if it was palm muted, it will sound like this. And you could palm mute it, but then it doesn't quite have that ring to it. Alright, so like I said, we're back to the intro, then it's the second verse, and then after that second verse, we've got a big chorus. So let's check the bigger chorus out right now. Alright, so for the chorus, the chords were G flat, D flat, A flat, B flat minor. The same as the bridge, or the previous, sorry, not the bridge, the previous chorus that I played for you, which was a down chorus. G flat, D flat over F, A flat, B flat minor. But now this is a big chorus, so these little voicings aren't going to cut it. So what I did is I played this. As you can see, it's a G flat chord, but over D flat. Sounds quite fat, right? Obviously, that would have sounded even fatter, but normally these low fat voicings kind of get lost in the mix. So I opted for this, G flat over D flat. That's my root. But then I'm just adding a fifth below it, right? So it's G flat over D flat. That's what a G flat would have looked like if I played it like this. But now I'm just taking this G flat note off and I'm playing D flat, G flat, D flat. You could also do this. But in any case, we're just doing that, G flat over D flat. And I'm adding in the third finger to play a D flat. I slide up 2 frets using the same voicing as the first chord. Now this is an A flat. Makes sense, right? Because it's G flat to A flat and then to B flat minor. you just got to be careful. I don't know if it'll happen to you, but for me, when I go down here, my hands are more used to playing a normal power chord, but that's going to give you D flat, but we want G flat over D flat. All right, so that's all there is to that section, right? So it's just these voicings that basically allows you to play that big chorus. Now let's go ahead and check the down bridge. All right, so for the down bridge, if you guys have been watching any videos on our channel, you'd know that I talk about 4/2 voicings a lot. And essentially, that's just a voicing played on just the 4th and 2nd strings. A D flat, an A flat, and a B flat minor. And all I did there is I just played that with swells. G flat, D flat, A flat, B flat, and then I just do a little, like a little bend on the strings. And I just do that again. G flat, B flat, A flat, B flat. All right. That's how we start the down bridge. Now we want to build it. So now what we're going to do is the following. So it's exactly the same idea that I used in our first chorus, except the chords are being played for longer, right? So that is the second time. I played that the second time after doing those swells. But now the bridge keeps building. That's what I love about the guitar. If you know how to use your voicings the right way, it's like a little mini orchestra, right? So now instead of playing just the 4/2 voicings, I did this. Okay, so what's happening there? It's essentially a G flat 4/2 voicing. It's a power chord, but then I'm adding in G flat on the top note here. If you're familiar with this same shape, right? G flat. Then for D flat, we had this when we had the 4/2 voicing. But then you can add an A flat note here. And then we had A flat power chord, B flat power chord over the B flat minor, and A flat power chord over the A flat. So G flat, B flat, A flat, B flat. All right, nice and easy. So you can see what I've done there is I've basically had 3 gears that I could use over the bridge. Gear number 1 with the swells, nice and open. Twice, right? And now let's kick it up a gear. Things are starting to pick up, right? Do that again. Now when we go to the next bridge, same bridge but we're building it, I gotta have another gear. Here comes my third gear. And now this is the final bridge. As you can see, I had my different gears to build. Alright, and then there's a bit of a tag to the G flat, to the A flat, into a big chorus. Alright, so then basically the rest of the song is just finishing it off in the chorus and then an intro at the end. So pay attention to that idea of having different gears, starting with the swells, doing the 16th note palm mute picking thing with an accent on 2 and 4, and then bringing in an additional note for like the big 8th note strums. I like this. It's kind of thinking of the guitar as a mini orchestra, and if you think about an orchestra, it might start off nice and slow with just a few of the instruments, but as things build, different, sections of the orchestra will chime in, and that's what you can do in a guitar. Think of your strings as different, instruments that could start playing. Like if you have a string quartet, they're obviously going to break up the chords in like 4-part harmony, so we can do similar things. All those kind of things, that's really helpful. So not just in terms of voicings, like adding notes, but also in terms of rhythm. The strums that I use, whether it's simple 8th note strums, whether it's syncopated strums, whether it's 16th note picking patterns with palm muting and little accents, or whether it's open swells on just a 2-note voicing, or whether it is just long ringing chords. All right, so as you can see, lots of variations available there. So that was a breakdown of the parts that I used to come up with like a rhythm part for The Battle Belongs. Hopefully you've learned some good stuff there in terms of voicings, in terms of rhythmic approaches, and in terms of thinking about the guitar like a bit of an orchestra and figuring out, what you can do to come up with different rhythms, different voicings, and how you can bolt all these things together to come up with a complete part. Right, guys, hope you enjoyed that. Please leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought of the lesson, what your favorite part was, and what you'd like to see more of on this channel. We love reading feedback from you guys. It's always good to see how we are helping you guys and where you need more help, because then we can come right back into the studio and film lessons for that. And if you'd like to figure out or find out how you can study more with worshipguitarskills.com, just check the description. There's going to be instructions and links for you to find out more about some of the courses and products that we offer. If you want to dive deeper, all of the information will be right there. All right, guys, have an awesome one, and I'll see you in the next one.